Okay, hey guys, I'm Mandy, and this is Pathways to Success. And I figured we could start out with a PowerPoint and just kind of talk through it, right? And we can ask questions and work through it that way. That way there's a flow and a progression, and we can actually get to the helpful parts instead of just the recognition parts before we run out of time, because obviously I'm not good at time management. So, right? Goodness. This class, it's on goals and motivations. And one of the big things with that is everybody thinks that goals and motivations are so easy, right? Like that should be the easiest part, is knowing what you want. I don't. I still don't know what I want. Gosh, when you go off, changes, I've had my word. All right, so goal setting and motivations. And first off, we're going to define what a goal is, okay? The result of achievement or achievement towards which effort, aim, or end and vision is directed, right? A goal gives us direction, somewhere to focus our attention and something to strive for. Defining motivation. Motivation is an internal state or force that propels individuals to engage and persist in goal-directed behavior, strongly driven to succeed or achieve something, okay? Direction equals the target, and how important that target is equals the amount of effort you're willing to put towards it, okay? That's how you can kind of classify your motivations. Because I'm motivated to get dinner, but I can go to bed hungry, but I can't skip work and have heat, you know, so it's all about the amount of effort and the motivation behind it. Intensity, how hard a person tries to achieve their goal, okay? If you half-ass it, you're not gonna get there. I've half-assed all kinds of stuff in my life, and it don't work. And faking it till you make it most certainly don't work, because you gotta go home and you gotta live with yourself, right? That's the hard part. And then persistence, how long the person maintains their effort, okay? A big example of that is like, you know, first of the year, right? We all make resolutions and all of those things. And when we do that, we're like, yeah, okay, well the gym's packed in January, okay? You can't even get in there. February, you might get a treadmill. March, there's 3 tanning beds open every day of the week, you know, because it's not that important to people, okay? It's a minor goal for them. But now, when livelihood is your goal, right, you're a lot more likely to stick to getting up and going to work every day to be able to eat, okay? So, short-term motivations and long-term motivations, they can vary substantially. Isn't she cute? I picture her on myself. Anyways, if you were only taught to survive, dreaming feels dangerous, okay? Who here has ever been around somebody that they were afraid to tell what they really wanted in life, right? Yeah. Yeah. Y'all got a leg in it too. Yeah. Like, you know, the fear of embarrassment, the fear of rejection, the fear of being put down, to be made to feel like we're not valuable enough to have those dreams, right? It really makes it hard to visualize what you want, because if somebody tells you you can't never achieve nothing, then you start to believe it. So why do goals feel so hard, right? Because They do. They really do sometimes. And a good reason, disappointment, right? Who here's been let down? I've made all kinds of goals and disappointed myself. That's the hardest one. Like, you can kind of get over disappointing somebody else, but when you disappoint yourself, shoo-wee, that one hurts, don't it? I don't know how to operate a mouse today. Okay, failure, right? Who's ever gotten the job of their dreams, right? Or the boyfriend or girlfriend of their dreams or whatever. They got married, right? Thought it was gonna be forever, and it failed miserably. They were so wrong, right? Or they joined college, so wrong. They picked a lifestyle that doesn't match them anymore. You know, failure makes you not want to try again, right? Loss, that's a big one, and that can be loss of possessions or things like that, or it could be loss of family members, okay? If you don't have anybody left to be proud of you, what's the point? There's nobody left to see you struggling on the corner, and what do you care anymore? Right? That's a big reason. Some people are just like, I don't care, you know? And it's understandable. All of these reasons are understandable. I am not saying that not one of these are 100% a valid reason to feel stuck in setting those goals. But one of the big things that my class is set to do, instead of like most of the reentries and all of this, is my focus is building self-esteem, right? We're gonna fix the feelings that you have inside left over from all of these, because we've all been through every single one of these. If somebody ain't been through at least one of these, all of them, you got like lack of support and fear. Is there one anybody hadn't felt? Same, gosh almighty. And that's one of the reasons people end up in jobs they hate, in marriages they hate, in friendship groups they hate. Now I have seen that happen, that it's just to put a smile on their face, you know, and have somebody to call. But you know you're being judged, you know, you can't tell them nothing real about yourself, can you? Oh yeah, you can BS about that Super Bowl all day, but if there's a crisis, they're not there, you know. So because we have a fear, right, of having the goal of a real relationship with somebody, a goal of being your genuine self at all times, right? All of those things prevent that, okay? Let's see. Oh, what I mean, how did I do that? All right, there are no wrong goals, okay? The only difference between goals, you got small goals and big goals, okay? And everybody's goals are different, okay? Just because Sally's goal, right, is to make $1 million and marry a football player, right? Cool, Sally, right? Or this man's, like, his dream is to be a truck driver, right? Or the garbage man and retire from the city at 45. You know, it don't matter what your goals are. It only matters to you. Anybody else's input, they're temporary, okay? Doesn't matter if it's your spouse, your parent, your best friend. Their opinion is temporary. It's your life, right? You're the only one that has to answer for it at the end, okay? When you're having to face the end, you want to face it with regrets because somebody told you you couldn't, or go out in flames. Be like, I'm ready. Let's ride that pony, right? You know, I might be Southern. Them euphemisms are coming heavy tonight, aren't they? I don't mean to. Oh, look at that. I knew it made to do things. Anyways. All right, so some of the small ones are wake up on time. Well, there we go. Wiggles. what the F did I do? I'm gonna get this one day.
Spin, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Haha, okay, wake up on time. That's a big one, right? I used to struggle with that very bad. Show up, doesn't matter, right? If it's your probation, if it's your parole, if it's a job interview, okay? If you're sick, okay, and you're not contagious, right? Show up to work. If you need to go home, show them you're sick. Show them you're sick, right? Now, there are certain instances, or if you're in the healthcare field and stuff like that, absolutely don't show up. But if you're in a predicament where you need that job, and there's an attendance situation, and you could lose your job because you have to call in that day because you're sick, take yourself in pajamas and cough on them if you got to. But show them that it's true. Because everybody these days assumes everybody's lying until you show them you're not. So keep that mindset, and whether they say they believe you or not, show them you're being truthful. Okay? Small goals. Stay sober today, right? That's a big one for a lot of people. One day at a time, right? 1 minute at a time sometimes. I got it screwed up. Okay. Eat one real meal. I struggle with that one myself pretty bad sometimes, actually. I forget, and it's a bad habit. Real meals are not fast food, okay? Sometimes that's the only food that you can get, but try to include vegetables in it, okay? And it's not necessarily that it's not real food, right? But it's highly processed, okay? But if you include the vegetables of any kind, our bodies need the structured water that is inside those vegetables. The bottles of water that we drink, they're great for us and everything, but real food that humans across millennia have eaten, that's where we get our real nutrients from. And without the proper nutrients, we don't have the proper brain power, motivation. You'll stay sick all the time. You gotta keep a decent calorie intake in your diet. Save a few dollars. I need to remember that one. That one's a hard one. That one should have been on big goals, just to be fair. A few dollars can do a walk for somebody. Okay, so I apologize that that's on the small goal side, but maybe for some of you it is a small goal. You never know. I don't know everybody's situation, but for me, that's one of my big goals. Even to be able to save $10 extra a check or something like that, just to build up. But shoot, that one's a hard one. Finish one task. Right, just one. You know, you don't have to finish putting the laundry away, but you got to finish folding it, right? You don't have to like put the dishes away, but you got to wash them, right? One task. Because we can get overwhelmed when we put a lot of tasks in front of us, right? Like, if you're sitting there and you're like, oh God, okay, I gotta go rinse everything off, I gotta empty the dishwasher, then I gotta load the dishwasher, and then I gotta do this, and then, right, it becomes overwhelming. And as simple as those instructions sound, if you're in a mental health crisis or being triggered by an environmental situation or something like that, something as small as one task can be very heavy, right? So definitely appreciate when you complete even the simplest things. Keep one promise, okay? That can be to somebody else, but preferably that's to yourself, okay? Keep it to yourself, not anybody else. I mean, that's a good habit to get into to help build a successful reputation, okay? when it comes to rebuilding your relationships and things of that nature. But when you're working on yourself, the only one you need to worry about keeping promises to is yourself. Because everything else can drag you back down until you get solid, okay? Because you'll beat yourself up if you can't keep a promise to someone else, okay? Only promise yourself until you're ready to move on, okay? Because when you can trust yourself, then you can have faith that others will too. All right, we got big goals. They equal trust, confidence, and better opportunities, and a different future, and stability. But it takes all of these little things, right? I don't have that lazy thing. All of these little things are what equal up to this, right? Waking up on time, showing up, there's your better opportunities, right? Stay sober today, that's a different future and stability right there, right? Little goals get you to the big goals, even if you don't know what the big goals are yet. Okay? Let's build a new life. That's it. That's all you need to start, okay? Just one goal. You do not need a 5-year plan. You do not need a perfect start. And you don't need confidence, okay? Confidence and the big picture will naturally develop as you start keeping all those little goals to yourself every day. You don't have to have all the answers to get started at all. You start where you are, okay? Literally, when you make the choice, because it is a choice, the positions that we find ourselves in, they are not sicknesses, in my opinion. They're choices, okay? And some of those choices include mental health issues, losses, different things, and those are what need to be addressed, not the underlying or the visible problems, when it's really the underlying things that keeps people on those levels, right? Like the losses and the disappointments and that negative self-talk, okay? But one goal is enough. Because that one's important. What's okay. All right, so I've got some questions for y'all, because I was supposed to be asking questions down through these. But this one is important, because a lot of people, they get overwhelmed with even the thought of it, right? Like, what am I gonna be with my life? What am I gonna do with my life? Like, I gotta get a job, I gotta get a house, I gotta get a car, I gotta get this, I gotta get that, I gotta, you know. No! No, you don't. No. You gotta wake up. Let that be your first goal for the day. Because then you can check it off the list, right? You woke up. That pings, okay? Whenever our phones go off, it causes those serotonin rushes, right? That dopamine rush. It's like, ooh, right? Every time that phone pings, even if it's just a Spotify notification, like, oh, I don't care. Yeah, but it definitely makes you pick the dang thing up and look, doesn't it, right? If you write that goal down the night before, right? Just that first one. And you wake up and you look over and you can cross that off your list first thing. You just gave yourself that ping, okay? That's your shot of dopamine, because it's an accomplishment. It's like, yeah, cross that off. Every time you cross something off your goal list is the same thing as that phone pinging, right? So create the amount you need to push through, okay? And none of these goals do you have to repeat or follow, right? But like, goal 1, wake up today, okay? Goal 2, get out of bed, right? Some people make their bed, some people don't, whatever. Goal 3, make your coffee. You know, the simplest of things, brush your hair today, right? Wash your face. Tiny, tiny things that you know that you have to do every day to feel good about yourself are the best place to start, okay? Because it don't matter how the rest of the world feels about you until you feel good about yourself, right? And that's what we're doing. We're building our confidence back. What's one small step you've been avoiding in your life? Tiny.
Getting better with my finances. I'm so ignorant to it all. As soon as I get money, I just blow it because I have no idea what it's like to have to save it and the means to do it.
Is it overwhelming? Like
Every time, yeah.
Yeah.
Every time that account hits zero, it's like another pin in my heart.
Yes. No, that's completely understandable. Do you have any goals that can make that less whelming for you?
Well,
Like, do you know how to break that down?
not great.
When it comes to finances, right? Like, that's a great example of something that seems like a small goal. Like I said, I should have never had it under the small goals. But when you live paycheck to paycheck, 90% of this country does. I don't care how much you make, you're still living paycheck to paycheck. I was like, how, where did it go?
Yeah.
Right. But you're looking big picture, right? And when all you can see is the big picture, you can't see the path, okay? So today, I spent this, right? Okay. And then tomorrow, you spend this. And doesn't matter, you don't have to save anything, but you're conscious of it, right? You count every dollar you spend that day, right?
Yep.
And then that just makes you aware of your own habits. And when you become aware of yourself and your own habits, then you get to pick whether you need to alter this one or swap to half cash because it's not as easy to spend. I did that myself this paycheck, and I have a lot left over than I usually do, right? Tiny little steps like that is the best way to break them down, but you gotta figure out what you're doing that is holding you back, right? And if you're looking at your big picture goal, I have to save money, right? Like, how? You know, and so we have to look at ourselves. We have to look inward at that in our own habits and how we visualize our own needs, right? And then you build from there, right? You got to start at the bottom.
Yeah.
I can't give you all of your solutions for all of your goals, but when you address inward, right, at your own behaviors, and this online baking stuff is so easy to be able to go back and look and see, like, I spend that much every week on that. What in the world? I quit going to Dunkin' Donut when I did that because I was bad. I was really bad. Y'all ever had them $7, $8 coffees? Yeah. And that card in my pocket, it don't matter. It doesn't feel like money. Does the bank card feel like money when you swipe it?
No.
Me neither. That's one of the biggest problems in society today is it's too easy to give it away. All right? Money is your life. You sold a minute of your life for a portion of a paycheck. You sold an hour of your existence breathing for that money. Think about that. Okay, that's a hard one to swallow, ain't it? Right? Especially when you go to, shopping and come home from Ross's and you don't even know what you bought and your account's empty, right? Yeah. I wasted my life for those material possessions. No, right? And when we look inward and we we can classify, because everybody has different needs. Basic needs are not all the needs that people have at all. You have different needs, you have different needs, I have different needs, right? And to be comfortable in our environment where we are, all of these things, right? We all have different needs, and we have to define what ours are, no matter what the situation is, whether it's finances, relationships, jobs, right? Somebody else's success or their love for something or their ability to do something has nothing to do with yours, right? We are all individuals, period. Well, unless you got a twin, my Paul over there, love his heart. Unless you got a twin, we came in alone. We're going out alone, okay? Everything in the middle is an experience, okay? And treat it as such. Do not beat yourself down. The past is past for a reason. Tomorrow is a completely different opportunity to change, right? So you can beat yourself up over your finances all you want. Now, I'm just using that as an example because it's just the easiest. You can beat yourself up over it all the time, I know I do. But beating myself up didn't fix it, okay? It was putting the effort into recognizing my own behaviors that were causing my issues. That's what it all boils down to. And when we address those internal negative behaviors, patterns, and thoughts, then we are able to take those baby steps towards the goals and find our motivation. Because sometimes we have to get started and we don't even know why, right? We just know we don't want to be dead or cold.
Yeah.
That's the only motivation we start with. Yeah. The confidence in the big picture will naturally develop as you start seeking all those little goals for yourself every day. You don't have to have all the answers to get started. Small steps create momentum, and motion follows action. Who here knows anything about physics? Right? Well, it's just a fancy term for playing with stuff. But what it says is an object in motion stays in motion, and an object at rest stays at rest, right? So when you're stuck, right, and you can't go left or right, or forward or backwards, you're stuck. And that's mentally, not just physically, but it can be physically as well, whether it's an abusive relationship or anything. You can be physically stuck places as well. Don't take this as just mental, but a lot of times for most people it's mental. And just stuck, like no idea how to get out of the predicament that we're in, right? That hole that we dug down, it's 12 foot and there ain't even a root to grab a hold of, right? What are you gonna do? You gonna stay there? How about let's pray for some rain so we can float up? Right? I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. I ain't a good climber though, so please float me. I think I can float pretty good. But you know, you have to find your own solution, right? You could probably climb that wall though. Honestly, I know she could. She can climb a bear. You know, but I would have to pray for rain to get out of a hole that deep, you know? And so we all get out of our holes in different ways. But once you start getting out of that hole, you can't stop or fall back, right? You gotta keep little baby steps forward, right? Oh gosh. Come on. You only need one small step, and you don't need to feel ready at all. A lot of people wait, like, I'll start Monday. I'll start, no, why? That's not real time. Time doesn't exist except to document, like, certain things. Because your lifetime ain't the same as my lifetime, right? You could live to 102, right? I could live to 30. I'm already 40, so you see, I'm smarter than the average bear on that one. But our time is different, right? But nobody knows how much time they have. So we have to treat every second like it's the last, right? If you go home after work and you just sit down, right? Who owned that day? Who owned that day? Did you own that day of your life? Because you sold half of it to somebody else. Every bit of it.
I won't get back up.
Then you sit down. It ain't no motivation to get back up. You're warm now. You got a roof over your head. And we give up. We give up. We don't better ourselves. We don't continue anything. We sit down and we let them program us, right? Phones, TVs, all of that. And when we absorb those things, we place those expectations on ourselves, right? Have you ever watched Friends? Y'all ever seen that show, Friends? Same. Who couldn't have not seen it? You know, I think they played reruns for about 20 years.
Yeah.
They still do.
Do they? I don't have cable for good reason. Can't stand it. But did y'all ever notice that big apartment that they had right in the middle of Manhattan?
Yeah.
Right? And one was a cook, and the other one, I think she was a sales girl, right? They were always going on all these like adventures. Money's never a topic. They had cool
Yeah.
furniture. You know what I mean? That's not real. That's not reality. That's not what's going to happen. That apartment, in reality, even in the 90s when that was aired, okay, cost over $20,000 a month to rent. Period. The people in that show could have never afforded it. The ones that they were portraying, okay? That would have never been their real reality. And we've been programmed to believe that that's what success looks like. Absolutely not. Success is when you're comfortable. That's all. That's all that is, right? When you are satisfied with yourself. That is what success is. It's not satisfying, like having the biggest TV on the block, right? Or having the nicest car. None of that's true success, because you can still go home and cry yourself to sleep at night. You know, you can have all the money in the world and be unhappy. Look at Bill Gates, poor thing. Everything's happening to him right now. I'm gonna go look at pictures of him now. But, goodness. No, that's real though. Don't let anybody else's expectations or what you believe you see alter your goals or alter your motivations. Theirs cannot be yours, and yours cannot be theirs, right? Stability is a goal, right? The biggest one out there. I don't even know if it really exists, okay? But I know security does, okay? Stability is a funny word, right? Because that means even when the boat rocks, you stay sturdy, right? You can go with it and it can't knock you off, okay? Stability's hard. Stability takes balance and practice, okay? But it is a great goal to have. Consistency is a goal. Showing up for yourself every day, like those little promises to yourself. The consistent behavior. I wash my face every day, right? I brush my teeth every day this week, right? I went to bed on time this week, or I got up on time. Consistency, things that you can do repeatedly, over and over and over and over and over. Not only does that help you build towards your ultimate goals, but that also helps build you up in your own self-esteem, because without self-esteem, you can accomplish nothing. If you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to believe anybody else will. You have to believe in yourself. And just showing up is a win, right? Whatever that means, whether it's showing up here, showing up at work, showing up for your kids, just showing up for your life, showing up for yourself. All right, that is a major win, and we should all recognize that. And progress over perfection. My notebook, my personal journal at home, that's on the front of it. If there ain't a truer statement on this planet, because, well, I'm a Virgo, so I got a problem with that. I strive for that perfectionism to a point of irritability. But I don't have to, because I keep making progress. I'm not giving up on myself, and I've not gotten complacent. I'm not okay with just standing still. Nothing good grows in stagnant water, right? So even if you feel like you get to where you wanted to be, right? Push them goals further. Then push them further. Because if you stagnate in the middle, right, of your progress or your life, because you think you hit it, you hit that goal, you quit learning, you quit trying to experience new things or grow, you're just wasting your life there too. You're just spinning your wheels, and you just become a member of the machine. You wake up, you go to work, you spend your money at the corporations that pay you in the first place, and then it's just wash and repeat, right? But it's great to get there, and it's really, really good to get there. But only stay there for a little while, okay? Until you catch your breath. And it's time to start moving again, right? And just got to keep moving forward. You can't build a future if you don't survive the present, okay? That's a big one, right? People want to get on to people about not having goals or living some type of way or whatever, but if you are living day to day through survival, right? You don't know where your food's coming from, you don't know where your medicine's coming from, you don't know where your blanket's coming from, you don't know if when you go into the bathroom somebody's gonna steal your dog and your whole backpack, right? You don't know those things. And so how can you build a future if you have no security? You can't. So I want to go over some different types of goals really quick, because I know I'm taking a little while. I've only got a couple more of these. But survival goals, and then we've got temporary goals. Okay. Survival goals. Stay alive today. Don't use today. Avoid chaos. Keep the peace. Make it home safely. Ask for help instead of giving up. Those goals right there, those survival goals, those are what help you get through the day when you don't know about tomorrow, right? That's your survival instinct goals, okay? You're homeless and you see two other men start arguing, right? And number one, somebody's going to either pull a knife or they're gonna throw hands, and then the law's coming, and then you're going to jail too because you're just standing beside them, right? Survival goal, avoid chaos. When it starts, I'll see y'all later. I'll catch up with you later, right? You ain't gotta have a car to walk away, okay? Temporary goals. Get through this week. Finish this program. Stay sober 30 days. Get back on your feet. Follow rules for now. We're in sober living homes and things of that nature. That's a big goal. You just gotta follow the rules. Keep your head down. Finish it, right? Take help while it's available, right? That's a big goal because some people, they can't ask for help and they have a hard time receiving help. It makes them feel, it makes them uncomfortable for various reasons. So that is a goal for some people, is to actually utilize resources when they are made available, okay? All right, and what both types of these goals lead to, survival goals and temporary goals, is breathing room. Gives you a little breathing room, man. Just less pressure, okay? Wallowing after you ain't got no warrants today because you walked away, you know? Don't lead to that stability, okay? Learning how to master these survival goals and your temporary goals will lead to the stability it takes to master long-term goals, okay? And they'll lead to better choices later, right? That's the most important part. Every day's learning. Survival goals are real goals. They count, okay? And temporary goals, though, they're for this season, okay? Temporary goals are just stepping stones, not life sentences, and they're not forever. Like, finish this program, follow the rules, just get back up on your feet, you know, because just standing ain't enough these days, okay? But again, you can't build a future if you don't survive the present. Understanding trauma and survival mode, okay? Trauma responses are not character flaws. Survival mode rewires how we think. Avoidance can look like procrastination. Fear of failure can look like I don't care. Hyperindependence can block support. Overwhelming or being overwhelmed can cause you to completely shut down. These are patterns, not weaknesses, okay? All of those are trauma responses. Learned behaviors that we can unlearn. Understanding triggers that block our goals. Triggers can disrupt everything. Triggers can make you relapse. Triggers can make you not pay your bills. Triggers can make you pick a fight with your spouse, kids, loved ones. Stress can activate old survival habits. Conflict can trigger shutdown or anger. Rejection can trigger, why not? F it, right? And financial pressure can trigger panic decisions, okay? And fatigue can lower emotional control, all right? This one, that financial pressure and panic decisions, if you have a problem with criminal thinking, okay? And majority of the people that are gonna participate in this class have, criminal thinking instincts. Some serious ones, right? I scored off the test, to be fair. When financial pressure hits, one of the first things we think is like, all right, what can we flip? Right? I can take $20, I can make 60 real quick. Flip it a couple more times, I can buy me a car, and I can do this, and I can do that, right?
But it never works like that.
No, it don't.
Never.
No, it don't. Because you made those decisions under pressure. I don't own that. But you made them under pressure, under duress, under fear, right? Yeah, no, they don't work at all. I made a lot of them. So when that financial pressure hits, okay, because it will, this society, you can't even buy a Mountain Dew for under $5, I don't think, hardly. It's a good thing I quit drinking it. I mean, it's almost like that. What,
Yeah.
$3.60 or something for 20 ounce?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not taxes. It's crazy. But, because it's gonna hit. It hits everybody. I don't care how much money you make. When it hits, sit down. Sit down. It's not happening tomorrow. Okay? You have to give yourself time to get that over that impulse of I can fix this. That is a part of hyper independence, right? Because sometimes our parents couldn't keep the lights on, right? And maybe they didn't care to even to, you know? And so then it was like, okay, I gotta go get the lights cut back on, right? And sometimes you ain't even old enough to have a job. So you gotta hit something, right? And that's a pattern that we developed. And finances, I'm gonna say the majority of the people I know, right? When those stresses hit, first thing they wanna do, they wanna go steal something, make some money, right? They will go hit the dope man up and get a big bag and flip it, right? They want to write a bad check. They want to scam somebody online. There's so many bad decisions that come from letting that pressure get to you, okay? And because it's going to hit, but you need to know in yourself what it takes to sit down and let that thought pass, okay? Your house is getting foreclosed, they ain't taking it tomorrow. Sit down and it will come. The answer, the right answer will come to you if you've been doing your work, right? And there are all kinds of answers. You know, if you've been showing up to work every day and participating at work like you should, and you've been there a little while, right? Your lights get cut off. Instead of, you know, going and robbing Walmart, catching some more charges, flipping it around to the dope man who's then going to offer you a bag of dope for that TV you just brought him, and you're going to make two choices. Am I going to turn them lights back on, or I'm going to get me 3 more TVs if I take that, right? You know? Stop. Sit down. That's what you have to do, okay? Because there's no other options but sitting down. The only other options is right back to where you were. Do not let your triggers bring you back down. Know that whatever pressure you are facing right that second can be alleviated by a phone call, right? And I'm not talking about to give you money. Call a supportive person. Call a peer mate from this class, right? Reach out to somebody else who knows how you're feeling, that you can honestly communicate with without judgment. because there's not a lot of people that understand, especially in the medical fields and the rehabs and prisons and stuff like that. Yeah, there's some that have been there, but in my experience, they smoked a little pot in high school and didn't like it, and you know, they understand, they got over it, didn't they? Yeah. So that's not my peer. It's not. So I like to find a peer, and please, as the class starts growing, some of the people that have offered to come, they are rebuilding amazing lives from some really big sentences and some really big overcoming moments. And it's not like an AA sponsor, right? I don't want you to look up to somebody and just be like, oh yeah, they got sober. No. I want you to find somebody that you can look up to and be like, I want to be able to do that. I want to have their life, not just their sobriety, you know? And you can use it as a motivator or a non-motivator, because if you don't like him, you're like, I don't want to live like that, you know? You know, I'm going to do better than that. I don't like no Fords. I'm going to get me a Chevy, you know, or something stupid. I don't know. Let it motivate you one way or the other to do better, same, worse, whatever. But let it motivate you, and find somebody in those moments that's all you can think to do, and there is no other thought going in your head, and you can't even sit down. Call a peer. Just talk. You don't have to talk about how you're feeling. You don't have to talk about your finances, because sometimes it's really embarrassing. But if you just talk while you're sitting there, it'll relax you enough to think properly, okay? I was under financial pressure last night. Let me give you a great example. I've got 2 slides left, but our caterer, or who we had assumed was going to be catering, became unavailable, very last minute. Okay, I'm talking last minute. And I called my friend Patty, right? I'm freaking out, right? Because I'm not having a class if I can't feed people. I'm not going to do it. So I was through the roof. And she didn't demand I take her answers. Like, she offered a couple little solutions, you know, in conversation. Well, we could do this, or well, what about that, or what about that? But she didn't demand I take any of them. And she just kept talking to me, right? And the subject changed pretty quick into all kinds of nonsense. I went on a conspiracy rant after that.
Always
But,
you.
oh, wait till I tell you about my new one. It's a good one, ain't it, Paul? Anyways, she didn't try to give me all the answers, but she didn't villainize me for having a panic attack in that moment either, right? Because food's expensive, okay? And it's wintertime, and I'm a construction worker. I don't know if anybody knows what that means, but if you do, then you do, right? So, Patty, being who she is, love her heart, she talked to me, and it wasn't nothing about this class or food or nothing for a good 30, 45 minutes. She was falling asleep. Oh yeah, and Paul had to take over. He did. But right before he did, I had an epiphany, mid-conversation, right? Little Caesars pizza, right? That's cheaper than buying groceries. That was cheaper than doing anything, anything. And, but my first thought was like, okay, let me max this credit card out, right? That's a bad financial decision because I was under financial pressure, okay? There were better solutions than that, okay? As I found tonight, there was a much better solution, okay? But I reached out to a peer, somebody that I respected, that I could confide in, and voice my concerns with. And find you somebody like that lets you just process and work through until the pressure is not so strong on you, you know? Because sometimes, even if that is looming still, through a good conversation, you can calm down enough for your mind to work to come up with the healthier answer, right? Reach out to a peer, reach out to a friend, colleague, family member, talk to your dog, go play ball with your dog, go take a walk, okay? But give it a minute, and the answers will come that won't hurt you in the future. It's them first answers. Don't ever listen to them. I still can't listen to mine. Capital One loves them. This month's small steps. Okay, this is what I want everybody to kind of focus on and all that. Okay. Real change, focus, healing, and tiny goals. Progress is built in small, repeated decisions. Identify one personal healing goal of your own. Just something. You need to identify it. I'm not saying you can heal from it today, but identify your trauma that you need healed from, that is causing you triggers, okay? Set one tiny weekly action step, okay? That tiny weekly action step could be talking to your peer mate, you know, discussing the week. It could be, you know, exercising once that week. It could be having your therapy appointment once that week. Tiny action steps, right? And then, oh no, go back. Whoa, okay. Then we're not gonna track perfection. We don't care if you did it all. We don't care if you did it right. Just track it, right? Because that helps you become self-aware of your own behaviors, okay? You can think you brushed your teeth every day, right? But if you don't cross it off your list, if you woke up 15 minutes late, there's a good chance your breath stinks the rest of the day, right? I know I ain't the only one, okay? Experiment's pretty good, you know, if you do forget. But keep track of it. And then identify what motivates you. Now that was a big one, and I talked about it on the pre-show extensively more, and I'm running a little low on time. I've probably got about 15 more minutes I can slot through, but motivations do not have to be good. They don't. A motivation, yes, it can be your children. Yes, it can be your family. Yes, it can be all kinds of awesome things that society tells you that is the way that you should be motivated. It can also be spite, okay? It can be revenge for your past abusers, okay? It could be to prove your bully in high school wrong, okay? It could prove your bully of a stepdad wrong that used to tell you wasn't gonna be nothing, right? You define your own motivations. You don't have to tell anybody. I'm gonna tell you right now what mine's been, right? It started as my son, right? But he was a lot younger when I started all my healing journeys and everything. So he was the beginning, but he ain't the end, right? I live my life out of spite these days. Spite, capital S-P-I-T-E, spite. I live it like that. I'm gonna prove every one of them wrong. You watch me. You know how they like to say, hold my beer? Yeah, hold my purse. You're about to see it, right? Outright. Live it out spot if you got to. Live. Right? You deserve to live. Don't let them take your living. Right? Go back. What am I doing? Or was I not loving? No. Okay. Oh, and notice what triggers you. Okay? People touching my food triggers me. Incompetence triggers me. Ignorance triggers me like nobody's business. And sneaky behavior. And lying, but that's everybody's, I think, you know. But know your triggers, okay? Sometimes they're weird. Sometimes they're really, really weird. And sometimes they're really hard to identify. What sets you off and makes you do those things, right? But it comes from tracking, okay? You track your behavior. You track how you're feeling. You know what I mean? Like, what did old Hot Rod do to you that triggered you, that put you in that mood? Well, I know exactly what he did to trigger me. You know what I mean? I would have been too, but his is easy to recognize. It's felt my work. But some triggers are not as easy to notice. Baloney is a personal trigger of mine. It is. Now Dylan, he's stayed more nights with me than my own kid has, probably sometimes.
Close to it, yeah.
Yeah. And I bet you never knew that.
No.
About the baloney. I don't eat sandwich meat often, right? But when I do, I like a good slice of bologna on mustard and toasties.
Yeah.
I like it, okay? And if someone has been at my home that doesn't live there, or even if they do, Marcus, or, you know, he would never touch the bologna, but, you know, Dustin, he touched the bologna and got it for this one, okay? That's a good example. He went to touch the bologna and got him a piece of bologna out and ate it. And I noticed my bologna pack wasn't as full as it was, right? And you talk about something so stupid and petty, okay? All I could picture was the germs under his nails touching every edge of that bologna and him not washing his hands. And all I could think, he's trying to poison me. That was my instantaneous thought, is he's poisoning me. To this day, he'll still tell you, I promise I'm not trying to poison you if he's anywhere near around me, because I believe. Because my triggers, that was a trigger for me. Something as small as that, and I think that comes from my PICS syndrome, to where that was a possibility in my life that my food could be poisoned, right? Or harmed, or manipulated, right? And I have carried that over. So now I know to offer someone something to eat before they ever ask, to avoid my own trigger. I'll make your sandwich for you. It's not hard. As long as I know what triggers me, they don't need to, right? And then I can move past my trigger in the exact same scenario that would have caused an explosion before I recognized it, right? So, yeah, this is the end of this PowerPoint. Now those papers in front of you real quick, let's run through those, and we'll have to finish up. Pathways to success, rebuilding with purpose. You survived what was meant to break you. Now you get to build what strengthens you. One decision, one step, one day at a time. Okay? Now, since we've got some new people here, let's do our recognizing PICS worksheet first. Okay? So PIC stands for post-incarceration syndrome, okay? And it means your mind and body learned how to survive in prison. You may still react like danger is everywhere, even when you are safe now, okay? Now, I'll go down through here and read these aloud that for the people that are with us at home, and if y'all want to fill them out amongst yourselves and whatnot. Now, check as many of them as you want, as you live with on a daily basis, okay? Because I'm gonna raise my hand as I read them, and that way you don't feel alone, okay? Being on guard all the time. I feel tense or alert most of the time. Loud noises bother me. I watch people closely, and I sit with my back to the wall. Strong emotions or no emotions at all. I get angry fast. I feel dumb or numb and shut down. Small things feel overwhelming, and I regret how I react later. That's the definition of me, right there, okay? Trust and authority issues. I expect disrespect. I don't trust easily. I react before listening. I don't like being told what to do. Do anything. Okay? Decision problems. I overthink simple choices. I rush decisions. I avoid deciding at all, and I feel stuck. And then prison habits that follow me. I wait for instructions. Freedom feels stressful. I struggle with routines, and I feel lost without structure, right? And then tools that you can try this week, pause and name your feeling, okay? Identify your feeling, and if you tend to struggle with that, because sometimes with past behaviors, it takes a long time for emotions to come back. It can take years, it can take weeks, months, years, and sometimes decades for true emotions to actually come all the way back, okay? So try to identify them as you feel them, okay? And if you struggle with that, I can get you a feelings chart. I had to have a feelings chart there for a long time to be able to identify what I was genuinely feeling, because it all felt like anger, where it all felt like happiness, or, you know, when we're supposed to have this huge range of emotions, I was experiencing maybe 5 tops. And so, yeah, naming those feelings really does help you expand on them. Slow your breathing, count your breaths, right? Reduce your choices to 2. Y'all remember how earlier I was offering you notebooks, right? Now, I didn't say, do you want this, and this, right? I said blue or green, right? Okay? And then I said big or little, okay? If you separate your choices up into smaller choices, right? It makes it so much easier to decide things. Follow a simple daily routine. Most of us, if you have been incarcerated, are already on OCD level routine of some type anyways, whether it's ironing your clothes still, or the way you cook your food, the way you fold your bed every morning. There ain't no telling what has followed with you, but you can change it into something that you prefer now. Right? If you can pick it up from there, you can make your own, okay? And walk away and cool down when you are triggered. Do not immediately respond, okay? Because you'll regret it. I regret it every time. I blow up. Now sometimes I don't, but sometimes it's necessary, okay? But the majority of the time, when it is my trigger that caused my outburst, I regret it, and I have to go back and apologize and make things right? So, and then one situation where I will use a tool, right? Like one of your tools. Like name a situation that you've used. Now y'all will keep these, don't give these back, and just go over them. When you identify your triggers, you know, when you're journaling or trying to track, you know, certain things that you're feeling, you can revert back to this and be like, that's why. God. Because it'll really help explain it to the people that you're in relationships with if they have not experienced the same, okay? Now, this second worksheet is this class specific, okay? The PICS worksheet, y'all will get a new one every class, okay? And that's just to see so you can keep up with them and see how you progress throughout the year and see if you're still having the same reactions as when you first started, right? But that's a self-tracking thing. I don't want those back. Those are personal, and use them as you need to. All right, on this worksheet, it's goals and motivation, right? There are no right or wrong answers, okay? A goal I want to focus on right now. This goal can be small. It does not need to be permanent, okay? What makes this goal important to me? You can write a few words or even a short sentence.
Attention patrons, the Bristol Public Library will be closing in 15 minutes at 8 p.m. The computers will shut down in 5 minutes, so if you need to print, please do so now. If you have items for checkout, please take them to the circulation desk upstairs or to the self-check kiosk on the bottom floor. The library will reopen at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, one small step I'm willing to try this week. Okay? The steps should feel realistic, not overwhelming. Okay? You're not gonna go petition Congress this week. Okay? I'm not, because I'm insane, but that's just the life I'll be living these days. But yeah, and it is overwhelming, so I shouldn't do that because I've been trying to do better. So yes, for sure, make it small and don't overwhelm yourself. When motivation feels low, what helps me keep going? This might be a person, a routine, or a reminder, okay? And then I want you to list 3 things you're grateful for today, okay? Now, again, you keep these. All of our classwork and all of those things, it's gonna be anonymous. It's gonna stay anonymous. I don't need to know your inner workings unless you specifically want to share them with me, okay? I'm not going to force any of that. And so, take the time when you're at home to fill this out and actually think about the answers, right? Because some of them are super simple, right? And then some of them are not so easy, right? Like things to remember on hard days. You know, it's really hard to be grateful, you know, when everything's going wrong, right? So, and then these 3 things to be grateful for today, okay? Now, I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I'm not a guru or whatever, okay? This right here has changed more people's lives that I personally know than any other question I could ever ask anybody. Okay, I have a sense about me that when I get around people, I know how they're feeling before they ever say a word. I don't know why, empathy, whatever you want to call it, I can feel it off of them, right? And so I would come home from work often, and I'd ask my partner, who hated their job, right? Give me 3 great things before they said a word to me. I want 3 great things. Started the whole afternoon better, right? My partner currently, negative Nancy, as I'll get out most of the times. You know how it be, right? 3 great things. And it'll change your whole perspective, right? It can be as simple as, I woke up today, you know? That's a great thing. You're breathing okay, right? You're carrying around an oxygen tank. It's pretty good then, you know? There's all kinds of things. But when you start realizing what you do have and showing gratitude, even as small as a bottle of water, right? Somebody might be wanting it, not have it. So it's good to be grateful for everything. So try to do that every day. I like to put a reminder in my phone to show gratitude, right? Just speak it aloud. I don't care who it's to. You know what I mean? Jesus, God, Buddha, yourself, Taylor Swift. Nobody cares who you're talking to. But tell somebody thank you. You know what I mean? That's higher than us. But that's all I've got for y'all tonight. And I'm sorry I ran over, but I hope y'all enjoyed dinner. And there's all kinds of leftovers. You better carry at least 2 whole pizzas. I mean that.
I'm gonna feed my dad, I'll take one, how about that?
Okay, and I've got baggies too, if you want to split some of them, keep them with you.
Okay.
Okay, all right, well, I hope everybody enjoyed the class, and
We did.
thank you for coming.
I did for sure.